The little girl saw at a glance that there was an ancient tomb underground, the land her adoptive father and uncle were competing to bid for, so she immediately persuaded her adoptive father not to buy it because according to the regulations, no buildings could be constructed on land with ancient tombs. Upon hearing this, her adoptive father immediately gave up the bid. In the end, her uncle successfully won the land. He even showed off triumphantly, claiming he had inside information that this piece of land would soon become a key development project in the city and its value would multiply tenfold in no time. However, the next second, the host suddenly announced that an ancient imperial tomb had been discovered during the construction of the land. The authorities decided to suspend all development. Seeing this, the uncle collapsed instantly. Even more shocked was the adoptive father, who couldn't understand how the girl knew there was an ancient tomb there. Little did he know, the girl was actually an ancient princess who had traveled through time. A few days earlier, she had helped her adoptive father bid for a valuable Buddha statue. Shortly after, she told her adoptive father to give the Buddha statue to her great-grandfather. Overjoyed by this, the great-grandfather directly gave the adoptive father a project to build a resort and told him to bid for a piece of land he favored the next day. However, when the adoptive father's stepmother and her son learned about this, they were consumed with jealousy. Furthermore, the stepmother had obtained inside information that the area where the great-grandfather planned to build the resort was about to be developed by the government. They worried that if the adoptive father bought that piece of land, the mother and son would have no status left in the family. So the stepmother took out all her private savings and told her son to do everything possible to seize that land. Yet on the day of the auction, the girl suddenly found the land familiar. After looking carefully, she realized that it was actually the imperial mausoleum of her dynasty. Remembering that the government generally prohibits development projects on ancient tombs, the girl immediately urged her adoptive father not to buy the land. However, the adoptive father seemed not to believe her words and made several consecutive bids. It wasn't until he saw the girl looking angry that the adoptive father suddenly announced he wouldn't buy it. By then, the price had been driven up to 150 million yuan by the uncle. Watching the father and daughter looking triumphant, the uncle finally realized they had been deliberately putting on a show to drive up the price. Yet the uncle wasn't angry. He even boasted that the value of the land he bought would soon multiply tenfold. Sure enough, before long, people received the news that the government was going to develop this piece of land. Many businessmen immediately curried favor with the uncle and sought cooperation. Meanwhile, the adoptive father took advantage of the uncle's lack of funds and successfully bought another piece of land. Seeing this, the uncle immediately mocked him for ruining the great-grandfather's plan, saying that if he messed up the project, he would be kicked out of the company. However, the next second, the host urgently announced that the land the uncle had just bought would have its development suspended due to the discovery of an ancient tomb. Upon hearing this, the uncle collapsed instantly, and the group of businessmen who had just sought cooperation with him immediately abandoned him and turned to the adoptive father for partnerships instead.